But it also hurt because I was like never just being myself. I was always trying to be someone that people would accept and people would like. So, but then it like backfired too. Like I don't remember having a lot of great experiences with friends until a little bit later. There was a lot of judgment, about my skin color, about the way that I speak, who I hang around with, how I thought. And then even myself, I was not happy because it felt like I wasn't accepted as a Black person.
Right.
So then and I mean, even by Black people.
Right.
Mainly is what I'm talking about right now, actually. So I felt like, let me go where I'm accepted, which meant being a little bit more like them.
Welcome to another episode of Love, Growth, and Narratives. I'm Fredrick.
And I'm Tiffany.
And today, I just wanted to take some time and let everyone get to know Tiffany. Last year, we did a whole big episode on me and, my upbringing, my issues, all that kind of stuff, but we never took the time to highlight this wonderful woman who was kind enough to marry me. So I want to take some time to let everyone learn some things about Tiffany, and I have some questions I'm going to ask. And so I'm going to interview her more than having a conversation. It's going to be an interview.
Okay.
So we're going to start with a few softballs just to kind of get everything going.
Okay.
What's something people consistently get wrong about you?
Good question. I think I had a quicker answer in prior years, but now maybe they think I'm harder than I am.
Say more.
That I'm more rougher around the edges. I think there's assumptions, being a big girl, being a big Black girl, being a big Black dark-skinned girl. That comes with, assumptions, and there is an edge to me, but I also have a soft side. Like I'm very sentimental. So
yes,
I think like I've shown that enough that the people who know me know that now, and I haven't really brought a lot of new people into the circle, but I think that's, people have said like, oh, you're so nice. Oh, or like, after we've spoken a little bit, because I don't know what they first initially expected.
Well, you don't look mean.
Thanks. I think I probably smile more than I used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a big one. If we come across someone I have to deal with, professionally, and they haven't known me, don't have any prior knowledge of me, I think initially they start with that stereotype, and then they're like, oh, you're so articulate. Oh, you're easy to talk to, so yeah.
I love as a Black person being called articulate. That's just so wonderful.
Many, many times. And never by other Black people. But yeah.
What's something small that instantly puts you in a bad mood?
People who don't, I don't know if it's small though. People who don't have like a heart, or just they're not willing to go outside of their comfort zone or the box to help another person. And I understand everybody's starting in a different start point or whatever, but when I know and I can see the person and there's things we don't know, it bothers me when they just shut down their ability to like help another person when it doesn't really cost them very much. It's just like they don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
Also, when people they're not open-minded to like new things, trying new things, doing new things. The answer,
especially with your students.
Yeah. You did say what's one thing, but just the always no, I can't. They just won't. They won't bend like, or a person who doesn't have a backbone against someone else, like controlling them like that, just irks me.
Yeah.
No end.
So if your students were to give you a secret nickname, what do you think it would be?
My little 5 and 6 year olds, they would be something silly like Miss Maury or something. You know what I mean? I don't think they would have too much depth to it.
Yeah.
Purple, Miss Purple.
Yeah.
purplish, or you know what I mean. They'll give me. Maybe I'll ask that question.
I think you should. Yeah. I think you should. When do you feel most like yourself?
Man, what's hard is like I didn't get to prep these questions.
Exactly. I didn't want you to prep for them. Exactly.
I think when I'm on vacation, when I'm very relaxed and I don't have a million things to do, I think when everyone that I normally have to take care of or do something for, when they're all set, then I can relax and be more of myself.
Well, now with these questions out of the way, I want to go back a little bit, back into the younger Tiffany Moore.
Okay.
What kind of kid were you really?
Shy, quiet, insecure, like extremely shy, like nervously shy, and insecure. I wanted to, and a dreamer. And I still am, but less so. I don't have time to dream as much as before. But always just imagining myself as this, that, and the other, something other than I was. Imagining myself more open, stronger, not afraid, more talkative. But I was very, very quiet, shy to myself. Kind of a loner, a little bit of a loner when I think about, especially the younger years. I would hang out with the kids on the block, but I didn't want to go. I wasn't going away to camp. Like, no. Everybody went away to camp, and like, not me. So there's a lot of things that I didn't do because of my shyness.
Yeah.
And that didn't go away till adulthood, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that means all the way up through high school, you were still shy and introverted and stayed to yourself.
Very much so.
Wow.
Except just a few select people that knew me well, but get me in a crowd and I'm quiet.
Now, what's a rule that you grew up with that you quietly rejected?
That men are in charge or above me and above women in some way, that they know better, that they're a better leader, that they're stronger. I think that I heard it. That was the narrative that was pushed, but that's not what I saw. I mean, I saw the strength was in anger and violence, not in, genuine strength.
Okay. So when I was thinking of this question, I was thinking of a different way, but that's really interesting what you brought up.
Well, tell me the way you were thinking
actually
of
better
too.
than the question I was actually thinking of.
Well, tell me more about the one you were thinking of.
I was thinking of in terms of household rules, in terms of rules with your mom.
My mom didn't have a lot of rules. I mean, she's a hippie. She was like, I am much more conservative. I wouldn't say now, she would say so. But growing up, I would say I'm way more conservative than her. She's kind of like, free, do whatever, I didn't have to keep secrets from her because she was so open-minded and I was able to talk to her about whatever. So I don't remember. One rule she had was I could not get a tattoo. And no, I'm sorry. It wasn't a tattoo. I couldn't pierce my nose.
Oh.
I wanted to, of all the things that I could talk to my mom about or I could do or I could get away with, that one, she was like, as long as you live in my house, you will not pierce your nose.
Wow.
Yeah.
But were you allowed to have a tattoo?
Yeah, I think she would have been. I never really wanted one to the point I would have do it, but I think she'd be more. She has a tattoo, but I think she'd be more open to that. But it was the nose piercing because I was always blowing my nose. I had colds a lot and allergies, and she just felt like it's gonna get infected. And she didn't like the idea of me having it. I don't know. It was just a no. That my mom didn't say no to much, but it was that.
Oof.
Yeah.
So what version of yourself did you create to fit in or stay safe?
I just learned how to camouflage into most spaces so that I could be acceptable. Not all of them, not everywhere. There were some spaces I just stayed out of because right away I was seen as a phony, But I did learn to work the system. Like what do I see people drawn to? What do they admire? What do they respect? And then I would try to mimic that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you ever pretend to be extroverted or?
No. That was too hard. Like
It wouldn't have worked. Huh?
No. I just always seemed to I wouldn't say I was popular by association type of thing, but I always seemed to hang around with the right people enough to be respected, but not expected to be like them. I was kind of like the you see those movies where there's the outgoing girl and then she's got that nerdy, quiet friend who's like her conscious and keeps her in check. I feel like I had those friendships over and over and over.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you first realize that adults don't actually know everything?
Very young.
Or did you ever feel like adults knew everything?
No, I never felt that way. No. Okay. Sorry. No.
Was there a belief that you had growing up that still shapes you today?
So do I still believe this thing?
Well, so I'm saying a belief from childhood. It could be something that society placed on you or something that you were raised believing that still shapes you.
Lots of things come to mind, but if I keep it more on the positive side, I would say just helping other people that feel, I just remember my mom always doing that and that's just her thing. And so I kind of have that in me too. Like I want to, the minute I hear somebody struggling with something, I'm like, oh, what can I do? Who can I call? How can I make this go into their favor?
Yeah.
So a fixer, so to speak, I feel that way too. If I'm driving down the street and if I see some people who look like danger walking behind someone who just seems to be just enjoying life, like I'll watch to make sure they pass them. And if they don't, if they say something or do something to them, I will go back. I mean, I won't like intervene, but in that way, like I'll call the cops or I'll just keep an eye out and keep notes of what's happening and doing things like that. So I feel like helping people get through things or to be better in some kind of way.
Okay. So now when you were discussing how you were as a child, all the way through, up to adulthood, being very shy, introverted, do you ever feel any of that coming back? Are there circumstances where you feel like that comes back to you even temporarily?
Yes. I don't think it's nearly as strong, but when I'm in spaces with a lot of people, and especially if I don't know them well, I find myself, it's kind of like on TV where all of a sudden you're looking at everyone around you and you're just like in this, you know what I mean? Like you're shrinking, the camera's going back. And I'm like, wow, everyone's talking to someone. Everyone is engaging in every topic that comes up. I don't. If I'm not interested in it, then I don't have anything to say. But other people, like, they just seem to talk about a little bit of everything. I'm not a big small talk person, but when I am in those moments, even though I'm more verbal with people than I was in the past, I start to feel like that person again. Like, and I'm wondering, is everyone noticing that I'm kind of quiet or I'm kind of pulling back?
Now, do you recognize when it happens?
I do, because it gets eerily like I'm the only one no one's talking to, or I'm the only one who's not talking. So yes, and it happens often because I get drained too. I can't go on and on about something, and everything is not like a big funny thing for me to talk about. And I think the more I'm around someone who seems to be like, I read people a lot, even when I don't want to. If I feel that you are not really genuine, you might be outgoing and bubbly, but you're not really genuine, then I'm like studying you and I'm more quiet. I'm not drawn to that. Like that just, it feels so phony to me. And I don't like to be a part of that.
Yeah.
I think I try so hard not to be phony. I go too far, like, and not let myself have the best time that I could have. But yeah.
I'm sure there are moments or events that, in your childhood that shaped your life. Can you tell me about a few of them?
I think the constant moving was hard. I think some of the people that my mom chose to date it was difficult. I can't think of anyone that I liked ever. And I know that that's probably typical kids. Like, I don't want you with my mom. I don't want you with my dad.
Yeah.
But no, these people were not
Yeah.
likable. At least, again, I could feel energies. You know what I mean? And so I'm not good with, even though I know everybody has a good and a bad and there's, no one's perfect. I'm not good with pushing aside like flaws that are detrimental to others because you're sometimes nice. Like,
Right.
No, like your character is like everything to me. So, moving a lot, and a lot of the men that my mom dated, like I can't think of anyone that I particularly like. I may have like in a moment, like here and there got along, but overall, no.
And how did that shape you as a person?
Well, I think initially, in terms of the men, it made me like, I'm never going to date someone like that. And I'm going to be the boss and I'm going to be in charge.
Which you are.
You know, but not in the same way. And I do, and I'm going to use the word let, it sounds weird, but I do let you lead in certain things, not because you're a man, but because you know more than I do in that area,
right?
You know, and then when I see you get really strong about something, then I will kind of pull back if it's not something I also have I feel like I know how to do that. But yes, I'm a leader.
Yes,
you know, which I worked really hard to get here, from a kid who was afraid to look people in the eye to being a leader. Like, I'm not letting that go, you know. So, but what was the initial question?
Well, I was trying to figure out some of the events that happened in your life that really shaped you.
Oh, yeah. So I felt then when I was trying to be the person in charge, because I so didn't want to be controlled, which is just the opposite, or I'm doing the very same thing I don't like, right? And so I was like just dating people who were just weak, it felt to me. Not everyone. I'm not trying to put everyone down, but I'm just saying there wasn't that strength. Like, I like somebody who's like strong like me. And so that I knew I had to soften, because I didn't want that either. Like, I got to think about and decide everything. You know, that's too much work. So I just soften, and like someone who brings something to the table, you know, but also understands that I do too, you know, and it's not just to serve, you know.
Yeah.
You know, even though I have no problem serving, that's not my position. You know, that's not attached to me.
Now, what kind of student were you in school?
When I was younger, like elementary, I was a really good student. My mom taught me how to read at 3, so long before I even went to school. So I was a good reader. I was a good writer. Teachers always praised me for that. I liked school from what I remember, even though I was shy and scared. When I saw that there were students who were better than me, especially when I moved here, smarter than me or whatever, they were in the A group and I was in the B group, whatever. I would like try to mimic what they did. And at the time, that's when I was growing up in Koreatown. So a lot of my Korean friends, they had tutors and they were just like smart, you know. Not trying to stereotype, but these are actual people I know. I can even name some today because I still know some of them. And I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna print like them. I'm gonna try to be smart like them and try to study like them." I didn't have the, you know, the same support like tutors and all that stuff, and not tutors because you're trying to catch up, but tutors to be advanced. But I did my best. I think that helped. I mean, I wouldn't say I got as smart as they did, but I think it helped. But it also hurt because I was like never just being myself. I was always trying to be someone that people would accept and people would like. So, but then it like backfired too. Like, you know, it depended which group I was in.
Yeah.
So everybody was different. It was tough growing up. I don't remember having a lot of great experiences with friends until a little bit later. There was a lot of judgment, you know, about my skin color, about the way that I speak, who I hang around with, you know, how I thought. And then even myself, I was not happy because it felt like it felt like I wasn't accepted as a Black person.
Right.
So then and I mean even by Black people.
Right.
Mainly is what I'm talking about right now, actually. So I felt like, let me go where I'm accepted, which meant being a little bit more like them, you know. So it just felt weird. I mean, like my family was Black and all of that stuff, but it, you know, I wasn't like raised deep in Black culture, nor was I raised in some other culture either.
Right.
But it wasn't like you, like, you know, how you grew up, like you knew, you know.
So did you have like any true friendships growing up?
I think I did. When I lived in New York, I remember a girl named Claudia, as much as you think I'm not a New Yorker.
Because you're
yes, I am. And she was Italian. And I think I had some Dominican friends, but I didn't really know what Dominican was back then. Like I just, you know, might have probably been some Puerto Rican friends as well. But I remember my friend Claudia. I can see her face right now, actually. And there was a little girl who lived in our building. This is when we're young, before kindergarten. She knew how to read. She was 4 and she knew how to read. And that's what actually inspired me to learn. I was like, Mom, she knows how to read. I want to know how to read too. So her name was Tasha. And then there were friends on the block, like, you know, because like I said, my mom lived on a cul-de-sac where those people all grew up together and they had their kids and we were all kind of hung out together. I was like a tomboy. I hung out with the boys a lot, which is interesting. I mean, I was an introvert. I think I felt more comfortable around them because they were a little bit less judgy. I mean, they came with their own set of problems, but like I was bike riding and and riding in a rough way, you know, and skateboarding and climbing on buildings and just firecrackers and trying to set fires to things, like just doing stuff we shouldn't have been doing, but it's fun.
What about in high school?
High school, wrapped up in relationship, you know.
I mean, did you have like some true friendships and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, that spilled over from middle school as well. Like that, people that I'm still friends with today.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that same thing where they were like the more popular one and I was the sidekick type of thing for each person. I was the sidekick, you know. Yeah. I mean, maybe there was one where we were kind of equal sidekicks, you know, but we had a little girls group called the Tesla Girls. And I don't know, Tesla was something, K-Rock was the big radio station here back in that day. And there was some group that was on there called Tesla. I don't know. I just went along with it. And we all had a nickname. And my nickname, if I remember correctly, I was Frenchie. Why? I have no idea. But yeah, we all had a little nickname and we were all different race, right? So you had me, Black, you had a Filipino, you had a Korean, you had a Latina. I don't even remember where she was from now. Yeah. I don't remember people talking about so many different countries back then as they do now. But, you know, we were all, I've always kind of hung around with a lot of different groups. There wasn't a lot of Black people other than me and my sister. I had friends that I made, like, you know, we'd have a class together, we'd talk, exchange pictures, and we kind of became friends. But in terms of like my close friends, it was just, we were just a little bit of everything. Yeah. Now,
you had said something a few minutes ago about your mother and the conversations that you were able to have with your mother. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit more about that, because I think that's crucial. Mm-hmm. And I wish more kids had that ability.
Yeah, I don't remember how it started. I mean, we would always been close, spent a lot of time together. My mom did everything. I mean, she taught me to read. She would have me read books to her that I shouldn't have been reading, but I was reading for practice. I don't even remember. I remember it was Stephen King books, but I don't remember like what I was reading. We would do yoga together. I loved Sonny and Cher. I'd put the towel on and play Cher. And my mom's always been artsy, so she would do paintings on my walls of animals, and we just did a lot of fun together. Baking. I remember her making my cakes. Just a lot of creative moments together. A lot of closeness. I was like very, very close to my mom.
But you could talk to her about anything.
I could talk to her about anything.
Which is like...
Which she might have been also uncomfortable. Like, I went to her the first time I was going to be intimate. Like, you know, I told her about it. I told her it was my plan, you know, to do it before I did it. if we were having a senior ditch day or a ditch day at school, I could say, Mom, everyone's going to ditch kids. Is that okay? Can they all come over here? Yes, she would just have some rules like no smoking, no drinking. You know, of course I got broken, but I didn't do it because I was like so scared, but my friends would. I could just tell her whatever. She was just like that. And I don't know if she did that because she couldn't do that with her own mom. So maybe that's why she was, you know, so much that way with me. But that was a good thing. Like I could always definitely count on my mom. I didn't feel like, I can't remember anything I felt like I couldn't tell her.
Going up a little bit closer, as a young adult, before you decided to take on education, what were some of the other career fields that you were exploring?
I wanted to be a model, and we had actually gone to New York and took pictures and all that, but I wasn't tall enough, and so I didn't want to be a print model. I was like, no, I need to be like Chrissy Brinkley and all those people. Yeah. So what can you do? That was that. And I want to be an artist. So my mom got me an easel, and I would paint a little bit at home. I want to be a photographer. She got me a camera, and I did do that a little bit, but I never took classes. See, when I was very little, not very little, but in elementary, I wanted to be a doctor, but that slipped because, specifically a coroner, but that slipped because my uncle told me how much science or math was involved, and that scared me off, and I stopped. I was reading about it. I was like, I loved all the shows, like I loved it, and then when he said that, I was like, oh no, I'll never be able to do that because I didn't feel like I was good at math and science. When I graduated from high school, I went to fashion school. I went to FITM, and I changed my major like 3 times. First, I was going to sew. Then I was going to design. Then I just kept changing it, you know? And then I got a job at Contempo Casuals, and I decided to take a leave of absence from school because I'm like, ooh, I'm in. Right. I was just like a clerical. Or I worked in the store first, but then I got a job at the main office. So I'm like, oh. And then I ended up doing that I was an assistant buyer and associate. I was a clerical and assistant buyer and associate buyer. I did that for a while. I actually got demoted from associate buyer back to an assistant buyer when things got tough there. Like when things were great there, they were great. And we had like 2-hour lunches and But when things were bad, we're working till midnight and stressed out crunching numbers. And as we know, Contempo closed eventually, but that was one of the things I wanted to do, is go into fashion until I started gaining a ton of weight. And that is no place. Now it's different, but back then that was no place for a big girl or a black girl. Like it was hardly any black people in that field.
Or dark skin.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And specifically being a buyer and all of that. Like the majority of everybody that we, all of our vendors and stuff, they were Jewish. And I think I've told the story before, like when on the phone, people thought I was somebody different, but when they would meet me, it was like totally different story. So then I decided, after I did that for 6 years, that's when I always kind of wanted to be into education, because in high school, I had a job at a daycare down the street. And so I was like, I loved that. And I wanted to open my own school. So at first I was exploring that, and until it got to be like, this doesn't seem like it's going to be a reality. I'm not going to make money, or I'm going to work 24 hours a day, which I didn't want to. So then I was like, oh, I'll teach preschool. Well, back then I was making like $4.75 an hour. Like, that's not going to work. So then I was like, okay, let me go ahead and be an elementary school teacher, which at the time it wasn't getting paid very much either. But once I was very confident. Like I got my very first job, I got hired I quit Contempo, making pretty good money as a person who was like in their early 20s to go make minimum wage. Yeah. And I remember I was like the second lead, or I was like an assistant lead teacher or something. I don't even remember. But the teacher who was the main teacher, I was like, I can run circles around her. And eventually that's exactly what happened. Like I always felt very, very confident as a teacher. I don't think if I've ever felt nervous, it's because like it's a new grade, or do I know this material as well? Whatever. It's more like a challenge, but I've never felt not confident being a teacher. So, but those are some of the many, many professions that and I try to bring all of those things into what I do now, in a way.
So now being a teacher, What's something about teaching that people would never understand unless they did it?
How many decisions we make in any given moment, how taxing it is, because people are like, you have the summer off, you have this off, you have that off. But you don't understand, like, having a job and then getting time off is one thing, but having a job that is highly stressful and having time off, like, it's going to take you some time to even come down from that.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times when teachers retire, they become really sick, get cancer and all kinds of things, right? Because all that whole time you've been just so stressed. And I know there's other professions too, nurses and doctors and whatever, but it's a lot of work. It's more than it was when I started. Before you had to really just worry about your students. Now you got to really worry about the parents. Now it's the other teachers, and it's the admin, and it's the district. And it wasn't like that at first. It wasn't so many hands wrapped around you like it is now. And you don't get that unless you spend time. I think spending time in the classroom is helpful to anybody who doesn't understand education and what we go through. Yeah. Like, how many times my name is called, like parents who volunteer, and they're like, oh my, they're like, I don't know how you do. I can tell people like, I don't know how you do this. Like, you know what I mean? And you have to change your tone. Yes. Constantly. It's like ping ponging. You know what I mean? It's similar to like a mother who has several kids and the kids are all different behaviors. So you're going to talk to them differently. It's a lot. It's a lot.
And so, especially someone with your personality, what's the emotional cost of being on all day with kids and parents and administrators, the whole 9 yards? What is the emotional cost there?
I'm not sure I know yet. Like, maybe when I retire, I'll know. Or, I'm sure like my hair is thinner because of it, and my my health or my gene or whatever. I'm sure I've like rewired myself. You get attached. You get very attached to them, especially when they have really rough lives, home lives. At least I do. I don't know about everybody, but I do, because again, going back to what we had earlier, I like to help people. I like, I feel like it's my duty. I feel like I'm trying to release that more as I get older and I have other things to, worry about or to deal with outside of work. But I chose to work in this community that I work in, and so I need to be available to them in a way that they need. Doesn't mean I don't need boundaries, but I take what I do very seriously, and I always want to get better at my craft. I'm always trying to check myself. Was it the other day? I'm busy doing all the things I have to do. Right. And I overheard a conversation with two of my kids. Keep in mind, this is kindergarten. I overheard a conversation. A girl asked a boy, do you like this class? I don't know why she asked that. They were doing work. They were coloring or something. Right. And he was like, I hate this class. And she was very offended by that. She was like, like, I can't believe you said that. Why would you say that? Like, she was so upset. I don't think she was asking him, and she wasn't expecting that answer. Right. She was expecting something light and happy. Yeah. And, I pulled him aside, and he was like all worried. I'm like, you hate this class? Like, what do you hate about it? Then he started making things up. I felt like he was, well, I hate the toys over in the kitchen area. I'm like, what? You never even play over there. What are you talking about? He wouldn't tell me why he was saying that. And so that made me just reflect on myself for a minute. Like, have I been more stressed with them? Have I, we just came off of open house, which is a very stressful time. And, their behaviors around this time, like all the kids, they get a little antsy or whatever you want to call it in May. And maybe I was creating that, and he couldn't really express why, or he was too scared to say why. Because generally all the kids like love me to death. Like today I said, you guys, there's 20 days of school left. You're going to be first graders soon. They were like, no, I want to stay with you forever. I don't want to go to first. Like, I couldn't believe how many of them were saying that. Like, no, you're the best teacher, and I don't want to. And I was like, no, you have to go on and whatever. So that made me feel good. But even if whatever he said or someone says is not really about me, I immediately like, okay, let me check myself. Let me see, make sure it's not me, or let me make sure I rectify this in some kind of way. I just take the job. It's more than a job to me, but I take it very seriously. I have someone's children's lives in my hands, and that's how I see it. And I'm shaping them. And so, and I know that how difficult it is for some parents to have certain conversations. And I don't have that difficulty, probably because I was able to talk to my mom about so many things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I love that I'm able to do that. And I love that I have so many parents in my room and they can hear me talking and the things that I say. And I think they appreciate it sometimes because, like, I don't know how to say that. I don't know how to talk about that.
Yeah.
But I experienced it with my mom. Yeah, I didn't experience it as a parent, but I experienced how she would talk to me about difficult topics. And so I try to bring that to the classroom. But it's emotionally draining. It is.
So what frustrates you the most about how society talks about teachers?
It's like we're not supposed to be upset or frustrated or want more money or anything. We're supposed to be in it for the kids and, you know, which I am, you know what I'm saying? But I also make a living, doing this like any other person in their job. I think how much is put on us to do, even though I would do this anyway, I'm a police officer, I'm a nurse, I'm a, social worker, but it's actually expected.
Yes.
We're expected to be a punching bag.
Yes.
Like literally, right?
Yes.
Especially in the more recent days where kids are like pretty violent. I don't have any of that in my class, but it goes on and like, oh, you're the adult. They're just a kid. And like, you're supposed to just be worn down every day and just be like, which I think is insane to expect that. And how much accountability we have over how students do, even with things that are outside of our control. I don't even feel like the parents have that kind of accountability that are put on teachers. Yeah. So that's a little bit exhausting. Okay. That's really exhausting.
Last teacher question. And I think I know what your answer is, but I want to hear it anyway. What scares you most about the direction kids are growing up in right now?
I think that they don't seem to be problem solvers. They are really looking for someone else to solve everything. It's either they're looking for it or they just don't think that they can solve it. They just don't, it's like the smallest thing. Like, okay, figure it out. Just this lack of figuring it out, this lack of being able to deal with struggle. And I kind of worry about that myself because right now I feel really stressed with everything that we're going through. And I'm like, I know I can deal with it because I've done it, but just how I deal with it too, I think is something I'm concerned with. But I do worry that there's not enough curious or kids who can just handle the, I wouldn't say pressure, but just handle life. Yeah. Everything is they're so delicate over things. It's like really? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And some of them are probably being raised by parents who are that delicate as well. So going out of that, going into relationships and stuff, what's something you had to unlearn to become a better partner?
That it's not my job to fix anyone, especially that's what I do again, right? I just want to help and everything. That's not my job. It's not my job. It's not my responsibility, which I guess is the same thing. That's a big one. I mean, it's a difference between helping someone, being like a helpmate, I guess, and helping them through something that they are working on versus like, I gotta show this person how they need to be, how they could be and how to have confidence and how to just like all of that. I mean, yes, I'm here to help with those things, but, change you into, not you, but change the previous people into a better man. Like they just were kind of lost and that I have to like level them up, you know? You know, it sounds terrible, but Sierra said it first, level up.
So what's something that marriage has exposed about you?
That it's hard for me to give up some of my power.
Mm-hmm.
What else has marriage exposed about me that?
Well, say more about that.
Well, when when you're making decisions or, and I don't mean big ones, I mean just like, what are you going to do this weekend and stuff like that? You have to like consider the other person, what they want to do. When you don't feel like doing anything, especially as someone who got married so late. Mm-hmm. Like I was used to for a long time doing exactly what I wanted to do, which was nothing mostly. And now I'm like spending a lot of time. So I'm having to regulate the fact that I'm an introvert and regulate that battery that, goes out and just find ways to make it last a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. And just getting comfortable with like trusting a man. Mm-hmm. I think I've known that for a long time that I haven't trusted men. And I still wouldn't say that I just, I wouldn't give myself that label freely, but I believe in men more than I think I did before because of you. Just allowing myself to probably say no more because I have to.
Yeah.
And that I don't want to be a person who's always like, no, I didn't never do anything, never can do anything. I don't see the end. No, I'm not going to be that person. But I mean, I was the person who was the opposite. I'm always on that committee. I'm always helping. I'm always here. I'm always showing up. Like always been that person that now it's like, and I shouldn't have been that person as much as I was. Mm-hmm. And this marriage is helping me be okay with like saying no more. Mm-hmm. But I still feel like I'm still there for people.
So now with the time that we've been together, what do you think love requires that most people are unwilling to give?
Well, definitely vulnerability, time. You got to be able to reflect and change. Be willing to change something that your partner needs you to change or just look inward more. I think that is something that I feel like I do more and also be a better communicator because how you say things, like even if you are upset about something or you need to talk about something tough, being able, because you care and you love so much, you love that person so much, you're hopefully, I mean, I'm more careful about how I say things,
Yeah.
Because like to care about someone so deeply who you're not blood related to, it's a beautiful thing.
Now, do you think people sometimes confuse love with comfort?
For sure. I think they know that.
Yeah.
And you can have both. But I think some people are comfortable with, they don't want to, it's too much energy to rock the boat.
Yeah.
So you're just like, let me just do what I know and what I don't have to, I expect this. I know exactly how this person moves. I know how this is going to go. I know what I have to do to keep the peace. And they just do that in order to have some kind of relaxation, I guess.
Okay.
But I feel like if you're with the right person who's willing to have the right, have the deep conversations, then it's going to be a little uncomfortable, but it shouldn't be like a big argument and turned around. And now, you know what I mean? And you just can never win. And not that it's about winning, but sometimes you want to be like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. We're going to do it like that. I don't always want to have to battle to be heard in my own house.
Okay. All right. Moving outside of relationships, what kind of criticism hurts you the most?
I think, honestly, criticism that kind of comes out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Like when I thought everything was okay and everything's fine, and then someone says something that sounds so like, so then I'm like, well, did you really feel how you said you felt?
Right.
Because it's not something small about one thing that I did. It's about me as a person. And I'm like, were you holding that in all this time? I think that hurts when I think they felt one way about me and I find out it was something totally different.
So what's something you're afraid might be true about yourself?
That I tend to be more negative than maybe I'd like to be. I'm not the person like, and everything's fine, and really it's not. I know people like that too. I don't, but I do want to be able to find when I have joy, when there is joy, I want to be able to feel it fully. But I'm always afraid to feel it fully because something's right around the corner.
Yeah.
To just pull me down, So, yeah, that it makes me question, like, am I as strong as I think I am?
Yeah.
I know it comes off that way and I get stuff done, but the toll it takes. That's the part,
Okay. Well, so in your life and in your personality, what pattern are you still trying to break?
Looking for things that are wrong. Yeah. I don't want to overlook them. I feel very strongly about this. I don't want to feel like I'm going back and forth, teetering back and forth in what I'm saying. I don't always want to look for them, but I also am not a person who's like, okay, whatever. Let me let that go. There are things, right? You have to pick your battles, but I'm not going to be that person where I'm going to get stepped on and ignore the actual situation so that I could be happy. Because I'm not really going to be happy if I don't have some kind of resolution.
Yeah.
But yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it absolutely does. What's something you've changed your mind about recently?
Looking at nuance, which I've talked about this before, I think, not that I was against it, I just didn't consider it as much. So I've really tried to do more of that. I'm not where you are, but I'm like, I try to do a lot more of that work and dig a little bit and look at the different sides and accept them.
So you were more binary before. Yeah. It's bad or it's good or right or wrong. And,
yeah. Okay. It's up or down, it's left or right. Yeah.
Where do people misunderstand your intentions most?
I think people don't know. They know that I'm strong, but they don't realize just how much I can handle. I think because of the way that I express, and I get anxiety and upset before I move forward. Like, I express that a lot, where other people could be going through hell and they don't say anything.
Yeah.
They've got their poker face on. I'm not. I'm right. Like, I wear it, exactly what's going on. And then people think like, oh my God, you're going to crack. Like, oh my God, you're going to whatever. And that's possible, but I can handle quite a bit. I don't want to, but I can handle a lot. I can.
Is it that they feel like you can't handle it, or is it they felt like they wouldn't be able to handle it and they're just kind of imposing that on you?
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or that they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Some people wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing
Won't
that.
even try.
I'm not. Not my. You know. What did they say? Not my. I forget what the saying.
I mean, especially a lot of the stuff that you take on, with the kids, the things you take on, taking care of your mom, taking care of us, everything else. There are certain things that, most people would have been like, I'm just not even gonna try.
Yeah.
It's not even, forget that.
I think because of the way how I'm so expressive about how I feel, and I get passionate, and the complaining side, they think like maybe I can't do it or whatever, but I'm like, Yeah, I can, and I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think in a lot of cases people are really thinking about themselves. So it's a lot of times it's not a judgment on you, but it's a judgment on them because it's like, well, I would have never been able to handle that. So how could she?
Yeah, yeah.
But there again, like you said, some people just don't even try. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you hope your students remember about you years from now?
I hope they remember that they can work hard and play hard. It doesn't have to be one. It shouldn't be one or the other. Like there's moments where you need to go in hard, and then there's moments you just need to have pure joy. I want them to feel like they can do anything if they put their mind to it. You know, I've trying effort, you know, don't be afraid of difficult things, you know, be strong, you know, and in being strong, it's okay to be weak. Like to me, that's part of being strong, like being vulnerable, saying what you feel, like giving them the space to talk about a lot of different things. That's something that really is really important to me, that they know that they can have a lot of different conversations with me. I will take the time to answer their questions. I'm not just, because I understand, to me, true education is not just in some curriculum.
Yes.
You know, and it goes way beyond that. And I try to make sure I have time for that all the time, every day. Like to me, it's so important. Like that makes them more curious. That makes them more, wonder more and have an imagination and creative, as opposed to just constantly giving you, this is what you need to know in this box. Like, and these other things are not, they're not my responsibility. Like, no, I'm a teacher. I am a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm not a teacher of curriculum. I'm a teacher.
Right.
And so I'm going to teach whatever it is, all these different things. We're going to talk about it. Like I try to incorporate that with everything I say. Like the other day I said to the kids, you know, gosh, it's a full house today. And no one ever said anything. I'm like, what do you think that means? And like, I want to hear what they have to say. Like, I want them to know I care what they have to say, and that I'm going to talk about a lot of different things. And I'm not just about trying to get through the pages in the book, but I'm your teacher for life.
Yeah.
You know, and you're my teacher too. I want them to know that too, that you have something to say and share, and they do teach me.
Well, I tell you, I mean, it's amazing some of the wisdom you can get out of a 5-year-old. It's just, it's
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Yeah. So I could easily see, you know, learning from those kids, especially your kids, because you happen to have a
sometimes they really put me in my place of, even though we were doing Mother's Day cards, and I forgot what the student wanted to put on there. She wanted to put stars. She wanted to draw stars. And I'm like, why? Why would you draw stars? She's like, because I want to. Like the way she said it was like, lady, I don't have to give you some drawn out explanation. This is my picture, you know? And I was like, okay, go ahead. Yeah. So, yeah.
So what part of your story do you think you still haven't fully processed?
That I'm enough. Yeah. That I'm enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I know it, but I don't know it. Like, you know what I mean? People say it to me. I know people say it to me, and I do realize that I've accomplished a lot.
Yeah.
But as soon as I feel like I'm not enough, that all comes rushing back in. Like, instead of me feeling like, okay, that's them, not me. No, I internalize it.
Wow.
And I start to try to.
If this was the only conversation someone ever heard from you, what would you want them to understand about who you are?
Oh my gosh, that's difficult. I knew it. Right when you said the only conversation, I was like, what would I want them to understand about who I am? That I'm many things. I'm many characteristics. That I'm sensitive, but strong. That I'm smart, but still don't know a lot. I want them to know that I'm caring and I have good intentions. That even though it may seem like I don't like people, because I get quiet
sometimes
around
it does.
I do, but I like your story. I like the depth is what I like. So to understand that, I'm deep and I like to be deep. It feels comfortable to me, and the surface stuff and I'm not saying that's a positive, feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
It seems phony to me, and I'm not saying it is, but because I think some people have genuine conversations about, small talk.
Yes.
But other people, it's like you're faking, right? You're just saying whatever just to be talking, But just to, I'm human. I'm human, and I'm many different people and things. I like all kinds of things. I don't fit into any one box. At least I don't think I do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm a person who wants to be heard, and I want to also listen. Mm-hmm. But when something doesn't feel right in my soul, mm-hmm. I am not the type of person who will ignore that.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
I've seen that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So. Yeah.
So my last question is, what does growth mean to you right now?
I guess it just means being open-minded, trying new things, stepping outside my comfort zone, going where no woman has gone before. No, I think
you're not going to Mars, are you? Okay. All right.
Just living, yeah, I don't know. Did I answer it there?
Yeah, you did. Yeah. You did. And I really appreciate you allowing me to interview you.
Thank you for doing it.
Letting the audience learn more about you, the things that I've already known and come to appreciate and admire and honor about you. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah.
But so for this, I believe it's the 65th episode, but I think it's the 65th. For this 65th episode of Love, Growth, and Narratives, I'm Fredrick.
And I am Tiffany.
Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.
Bye.